The number one issue that needs to be fixed in Battlefield 6. I'm sure a lot of you have many ideas of what the number one issue is in Battlefield 6 in your opinion. Some might say the maps, some might say the netcode. And in truth, there is no wrong answer because all those things are very important. I've just personally accepted it's basically RNG if we get good new maps added to Battlefield at this point. And I've been dying to pour netcode in Battlefield since I was playing Battlefield 3 on a laptop. For these reasons, I tend to gravitate towards making my number one issue with Battlefield games something I think is achievable, let's say. Something I feel affects every single gunfight and every single person's experience while playing Battlefield 6. That is why in today's video, we're going to be talking about how I believe Battlefield can improve the gameplay of Battlefield 6 game-wide for every single player. So buckle up because there's going to be a lot of specifics in this video. If you enjoy the channel and want to keep up to date with everything Battlefield 6, hit the sub button, hit the like button, and swing by the streams. I stream every single day at twitch.tv/enders and this YouTube channel. All links are in the description. So full credit where credit is due, my friend Nickel, who you might know from Battlefield 4 fame, we were talking about the time to kill and what could be done with it in Battlefield 6 because I've seen a lot of people express frustration with feeling like they just don't have a chance to actually fight back in gunfights. The time to kill goes all the way down to 150 milliseconds. There are multiple sub 200 millisecond weapons in the game. And for people that don't really know what this means, basically you die really fucking fast in Battlefield 6 and it's pissing people off, okay? And while I was talking to Nickel, I expressed, I think they should probably do some sort of TTK shift in Battlefield 6. But then he started explaining to me how this is just really not feasible and it actually doesn't benefit the game at all. So I was really interested in his explanation for this, and as he started detailing what he would do in BF6, I realized the plan that Nickel laid out in my DMs would actually be so peak that I needed to make a video about it, and I asked him for permission. Those of you that have watched the channel for a little bit will know that I've been basically pushing for a small time to kill shift regarding close quarters time to kill in Battlefield 6. While I was talking with Nickel, he explained to me that if you wanted to shift the entire time to kill, it would absolutely destroy every single low rate of fire weapon in the game, and anything below 720 RPM or rate of fire would be unusable, even with no recoil or spread. TLDR, all weapons in Battlefield 6 right now are very carefully balanced against each other, and moving anything around would basically result in disaster. He also went on to explain that if you wanted to shift the time to kill just to fix close quarters, you would be shifting the whole time to kill of the game just to fix 3 to 4 super fast time to kill outlier weapons, being the SCW, NVO, SG553R, and maybe one more I'm forgetting. Nickel goes on to explain that he would rather keep the time to kill the same and just tweak some other things around that would make getting the maximum effective time to kill a little bit harder, basically meaning you just have to aim more accurately. Right now in Battlefield 6, there aren't any limb multipliers. You get the same time to kill if you hit 3 leg shots that you do if you hit 3 body shots. Nickel's solution for this is fairly simple. You have to reintroduce limb multipliers. Now, I mentioned you do the same damage in the chest as you do shooting someone in the leg or the arm. That is true for BF6 right now, which means basically anywhere you shoot in the body, you're going to get a very, very consistent time to kill without necessarily aiming that well. I can aim like shit and I can kill all these guys really easily. Now, those of you that played Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 1 will know that previous Battlefield games have had limb multipliers before, but some people complain if an arm overlaps with the chest or the head, that you're shooting them in the arm so you do less damage and therefore you don't get the kill. Nickel resolves this by basically having the game take the higher damage hitbox if something is overlapping. So for instance, if an arm is covering some guy's head somehow, or if an arm is covering some guy's chest and you're really hitting center mass, you would deal chest damage. But for instance, if you're exclusively shooting someone in the arm, you would deal the limb multiplier damage. Same with shooting them in the legs. Nickel didn't specify the limb multiplier that he would implement into Battlefield 6, but that's something DICE would have to figure out based on the damage models of Battlefield 6. And it would be something along the lines of like 0.96, something like that, that was used in previous Battlefield games. But adding limb multipliers is only one part of the equation. You also have to tweak headshot multipliers, which are abysmally low in Battlefield 6 right now. The reason why headshot multipliers need to be upped is hitting consecutive headshots is way rarer than hitting consecutive body shots. So Nickel explained that he would set the default headshot multiplier in Battlefield 6 to what synthetic tip currently makes it, which is 1.75x. Then he would rework synthetic tip and hollow point to do something completely different. He would rework hollow point to essentially ignore limb multipliers and only give that option to low rate of fire / slow time to kill weapons, such as the AK-4D. So he would remove it from weapons like the TR7, and weapons like perhaps the RPK or the AK-4D retain access to hollow point. He then went on to synthetic tip and said he would have synthetic tip buff the headshot multiplier further to 2 times and make it only available to very specific weapons such as the AK-205 or the MP7. So he would have one ammo type that ignores the limb multipliers and one ammo type that increases the headshot multiplier. And weapons that have access to hollow point and synthetic tip would be very carefully selected. If implemented in Battlefield 6, the result would be, basically, you have to be more accurate to get the full time to kill out of your weapon, and headshots actually matter, and all of this is achieved without touching the time to kill at all. Yes, in the end, some people that don't like the super fast time to kill will be upset that you basically have to stick with it, but personally, I'll deal with the time to kill the way it is in Battlefield 6, if they just make the game basically take a little more skill in some of these departments. With Nickel's system and rebalances, you would have to aim more accurately, and it would reward people with good aim, it would punish people with poor aim on targets, and on top of all this, it would shake up the weapon meta, which is very clear-cut right now when it comes to what attachments to choose where. Obviously, if these changes are implemented, it wouldn't completely fix Battlefield 6 overnight, but I truly think that these would drastically improve the gameplay of Battlefield 6, and alongside other changes made to the game, such as vehicle improvements, netcode improvements, yada yada yada, I really do think this would be a massive step in the right direction for this game. So just to round this all off, the TLDR is, add limb multipliers, buff headshot multiplier, rework synthetic tip and hollow point, and make sure only specific weapons have access to hollow point and synthetic tip. So there you have it, but obviously there are more pressing issues in Battlefield 6. This is my number one issue. I really do think that the time to kill, the insta-give nature of the game really does harm the overall game experience for many players, but many players would probably put maps as the number one issue. I stated at the beginning of the video that I basically have just chalked up new map additions to Battlefield as being random. Every time a new season's added, I kind of just am not even worried about the maps. I just go, well, you know, we'll see how this season is, guys. You know, maybe it'll be good. Maybe they accidentally add a new map into the game that is good. I've put my expectations for Battlefield maps to rest a long time ago, but having some conversations with people on Twitter recently, it's very clear that people think the game went a little bit overboard with urban maps, and after playing the game and having that thought in the back of my mind, I actually have to agree, they did kind of go overboard with the urban maps in Battlefield 6. You have Manhattan Bridge, Empire State, Sobek City, Cairo, Saints Quarter, and you might even be able to throw Mirak Valley in there somewhere, but, you know, Mirak Valley, in my opinion, one of the better maps in the game. For Battlefield 6's maps moving forward, if they do decide to add more urban maps into the game, they have to take design cues from Siege of Cairo. Not in the scale, but in the deliberate placement of verticality, limited amount of windows, and extremely well-defined routes. You take those principles and you blow up the map scale, okay? That way you get a traditional sized Battlefield map that people are asking for while it is still urban. So it would be similar to maps such as Strike at Karkand, Stained Crossing, maybe even Grand Bazaar. But I will emphasize, gameplay on larger Battlefield maps suck if the vehicle gameplay sucks, because the vehicle gameplay is kind of the main attraction to these larger Battlefield maps for a lot of people. And with the current state of Battlefield 6's vehicles, they need a lot of love and a lot of changes. So let me know what you think about Nickel's bright idea. I personally think it's genius, honestly. I think it's a great solution. I think it's fairly straightforward and low effort, and it would make the game significantly more enjoyable. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, hit the like button, hit the sub button, and comment down below all your thoughts about this stuff, specifically the maps as well. Check out the coaching, come by the streams, all links are in the description. I'll see you guys in the next video.